Are you dreaming of living in Auburn, Alabama? You ready to live in the loveliest village on the plains? Well, in today's video, you have found the right one. We're going to be covering the cost of living in 2025. So you can think of housing, groceries, lifestyle, healthcare, and many, many more. And stick around to the end because I'm going to be talking about why Auburn makes such a smart investment for you coming to Auburn, Alabama. So stay tuned. Auburn, Alabama area. I want you to make sure to go ahead. Welcome to the Living in Auburn, Alabama channel. My name is Alex Acuff. I serve as the broker and owner of eXp Realty Acuff Fleethy Group located here in Auburn, Alabama. We are a residential real estate sales team. And we're so excited that you found our channel because we put out videos every single week covering everything that you need to know about eating, sleeping, living, playing, what you need to know when moving to Auburn, Alabama. And that's exactly what we're here to do today. So if this is your first time to our channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you don't miss another video because we put them out every single week about everything you need to know about Auburn. And make sure you're reaching out to us because we love reach outs from people just like you because it happens every single day. And we're here to serve, not just be realtors, but we want to be your resource. So if you're looking to make a move to the Auburn, Alabama area, make sure to reach out to me and my team. We'd love to schedule just a 15-minute Zoom call to get to know you and you can get to know us and see if it's a great fit and if we can help you be the boots on the ground to make sure we make that transition to Auburn, Alabama as seamless as possible. And if you really enjoyed today's video, or if there's something that we didn't cover, or if you want to make a comment, we'd love to see it down below the video. Just leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for being here. So in today's video, like I said, we're covering the cost of living of 2025. And we're going to talk about first housing, because that's what you're probably here for the most, right? Now, Auburn's median home price is about $460,000. It's actually just a little bit less, where it just depends on the source you find, but about $360,000 is just about right for the average home in Auburn, Alabama. Now, you may say, you may be coming from a more rural area going, Alex, it's really expensive, but compared to the national average, we're significantly cheaper. I mean, national average floats around $400K. So we are a great buy when it comes to investing and thinking about where we want to live. When we look at not just the cost of housing, but when we get into the cost of what it's actually like to live here and where you save your money and where you spend your money, I think you're going to find that Auburn is a great investment for you guys. Now, if you are a homeowner, you're spending a little over $2,300, about $2,354 is what we came up with. If you're looking at your mortgage, your taxes, your maintenance on your property, you're about in that $2,354 mark. Of course, that is all completely dependent on what your financial situation is and what that looks like when it comes to purchasing a home. But that's about what you can bank on when we talk about real numbers and the cost of living in Auburn, Alabama, because I'm not really here to fluff up Auburn. I'm just here to be a conduit of information for you guys. Now, the average renter is spending about $560. So it's making it fairly affordable because when we get into talking about what the average rent price is, it's about a little over $1,000 for an average 2-bedroom. Of course, that is completely average median number because when you get near the university and student housing, you can see as much as $1,200-$1,300 a bed. I've even seen a studio for $1,700. It's wild. Versus you can get in away from the university, more in the average median household area, you can find rentals and apartments under $1,000. So there is a wide variety of places where you can rent depending on your budget and your lifestyle and what your needs are, right? So we can talk about that. Like I said, schedule a Zoom call. We can talk all about it. Now, when we look at the housing market here is always going to be booming, to be honest with you. Right now, they're saying that for 2025, the housing market's actually up 6.5% going into spring, which is always the strongest time of year, right? So spring rolling into the summer, we're going to see higher prices on average. Now, what is everyone saying across the board? Probably 3 to 5% for the year on appreciation. But as far as Auburn being a great place to invest, being under the average household costs or price across the country, coming in at right around $360,000, it's a pretty good investment from that point of view. Now, you may say, Alex, where am I going to find homes for $360,000 in Auburn? Now, there are a ton of neighborhoods that fit that bill. You've got places like the Preserve, Camden Ridge. You can buy homes down in Wrights Mill Estates in that price point. You can buy new construction in that price point. Older homes may need a little bit of rehab, but you can find them in that price point. So if that is your price point, there is a realistic chance we can find exactly what you're looking for, and just be a little bit patient. Now, I looked at the numbers yesterday. This is just a quick little factoid for you. When it comes to residential resale properties, Auburn only has 181 residential resale. So when you look at the greater market, and that's just housing, not condos, and it's not new construction, just residential resale, single family houses, there was only 181 on the market. So when it comes to that $360,000 price point, I think I found there's probably closer to 30, 40 on the market. So it is going to be competitive. I think there was about 17 under contract at that point. So that means that there's a lot of movement in that price point. It's going to be competitive. Just make sure you're interviewing agents and working with the ones that you know how to negotiate and work in those price points and make sure that it works for you. So the next thing we want to cover is your monthly utilities and your groceries. So monthly utilities in Auburn are actually going to be a little bit higher. And this is going to be one of the only things I'm going to tell you about today that's actually higher than the national average. You're going to pay on average about $400 when it comes to gas, water, power, internet, trash, sewer, all those things. If you lump them all together, you're probably spending about $400 a month as a homeowner on those items. Now, if you have a bigger home, of course, your AC bill may be higher, or if you have a more efficient, smaller, new construction townhome, of course, it could be lower. But yes, we are above the national average. Why is that? I already alluded to it, is that we live in a very humid environment. Get rolling into the summer, you got a lot of power working, pushing those ACs to the limit. Now, when we go into the winter time, when it gets cold, you're going to be pushing your gas bill numbers. So AC high in the summer, gas typically higher in the winter because that's fueling your heat, right? Now, groceries here are budget friendly. We are going to jump below that median number. So just a little bit though, a little over $600 per person is the average. I think it's like $612 a month. So about 3.5% less than the national average when it comes to the cost of groceries for a single adult. Now, if you're a family like me and you have 3 kids that are always hungry, you can easily spend $1,400 to $2,000 a month in grocery costs. So it's going to vary and be dependent on your situation and the makeup of you and your family, or however many people are living with you. So that's always going to vary. Now, it is below the national average, so it is a little bit more cost effective. And the good thing about living in the South is that we do have farms, and we also have farmers markets. So if you're looking to save money on things, the core things like your vegetables or your eggs, I will tell you, it is cheaper to go on Facebook or Instagram and find local farmers that sell these items and use those local resources. You'll find them like in Facebook groups about yard sales or flea markets or anything like that. You'll find those resources online, or reach out to me and I'd love to connect you with exactly who we use for eggs, because we eat the heck out of them and they're expensive as rip. So we like to use a local provider. And also, we get the eggs where there's multicolors, and my girls just absolutely love those. Plus they're way better for, in my opinion, I think they're better for you and they taste better. Next, let's get into the cost of transportation in healthcare. So transportation is another one of those items that actually floats above the average cost compared to the rest of the United States. Now, and I think this is skewed against larger cities that have better public transportation, but on average, 88% of people that live in Auburn hop in their car and drive to work. So transportation cost is it's higher. It's $855 a month. So you're going to have a higher cost because yes, we do have public transportation, but it's not commonly used. I mean, of course, you've got things like Uber and Lyft and other transit companies, but in reality, you just have Lee County public transportation. And how much does that cost? It's about $1 per ride, or $35 a month, I believe, if you get a pass, something like that. And so you're not going to have a lot of great public transportation like if you were in a bigger city or a metro. And you'll find that you're typically driving most places. Downtown, you do have to pay to park. But during the summertime, it's usually free. Usually when kids are out of school, downtown parking's free because they want to invite the Auburn residents back to their downtown to make sure they're shopping local, right? So we do see some cuts on the cost when it comes to parking downtown when the students are out of town. Now, when it comes to healthcare is actually 6% lower than the national average. So if you're looking for a place that's economical healthcare wise, but also has a good amount of providers and a lot of resources, come to the Auburn Opelika area. Now, we are a smaller mid-market. Does that mean we have every provider, every specialty? Absolutely not. It is very common when I talk to clients that have very specific needs when it comes to healthcare. A lot of times they find themselves going out of town. So you may find your provider is in Birmingham, which is only if you're going to UAB, it's about an hour and 45 from Auburn. If you're going to Atlanta and you're going to Emory, you're about another hour and 45 as well. So you're within 2 hours of just about every provider you can think of between the two. And of course, you can jump over to Montgomery. They have great providers as well, or even Columbus, which is the second largest city in Georgia, which is actually where I'm from. And there's a ton of providers in Columbus that serve a lot of people in the Auburn area as well. So a little bit less on healthcare. That's a pro. Some of the cons is that if you have specific needs, it may not be the best of fit because you may have to travel a little bit more. So your transportation costs go up, but you are saving on average when it comes to healthcare. Next, let's talk about other expenses and lifestyles, because you're like, Alex, okay, those are kind of the core things, but let's talk about what we need typically daily for our lifestyle, for our personal care, for our clothing. So what I have found on the internet is that the average for a single adult is $11,580 for the average adult. Now, of course, that varies. So let's talk about it a little bit more. I like to kind of think about, where are we spending our money? If you go to a gym, let's just say you're like me and you go to a gym, an average gym, you're going to pay $10 for a standard membership, upwards of $30, $40, depending on classes and if you're hiring a personal trainer. Or you can go to some places like Infinity Wellness that does small group training. Of course, that's going to be a little bit expensive, between $100 to $200 a month. And then you can also go to places like Orange Theory, Twisted Cycle. There's several of those group fitness style retail spots that you can go to. And of course, those are going to cost anywhere from $100, maybe a little bit in the low 200s. And if you're doing CrossFit, about the same cost. CrossFit and Orange Theory are going to be about the same cost here, as well as if you've done CrossFit and you're looking for something a little bit different, you can go to Iron Tribe Fitness, which is a family-owned company out of Birmingham that opened up a location here in Auburn just a couple years ago, and it's really taken off and a lot of people love it. I personally have not done it, but I do want to give them a shout out because they are local as well. So that's about the cost for the fitness world. Now, of course, if you like to go mountain biking and that's your fitness, you can pay $5 for a day pass, or you can get a yearly pass down at Chihuahua. And there's also walking trails, hiking trails, a pond. There you got a brand new park as well. And of course, if you are using the city facilities, go to the city's website. For Auburn, Alabama, you can just go to their government website. It's a fantastic resource. Go to Parks and Recreation, and they will lay out all the costs when it comes to joining maybe like the Lake Wilmore new center, or if you're going to be going out to, you can see the cost of the tennis center as well. So a lot of things on there, a lot of options when it comes to your health and wellness. I'm kind of a health and wellness nut, so reach out to me. I'd love to talk about it. Now, other things as far as personal care, let's talk about child care. That's a big one. So a lot of people we talk with, they want to move here. They're looking for homes. And I realize maybe they have a big family and they have little kids. Child care is something that we need to talk about up front, just to let you know, because although the cost of living is less for a house, childcare is actually less too against the national average, but you'll see premiums, what we call premiums, when it comes to childcare. So we got to think about, what is your commute to work? Where are we living? What's convenient? What kind of timing you need as far as coverage? If you want to go visit the different childcare facilities, see if you can get on their waiting list. There is a lot of providers for childcare in Auburn, but there's also a lot of kids in Auburn, period. So on average, families here are younger than the national average because we have a university here. So it's pretty standard to see a lot of people go to the university, stay in town, raise their families here. We see that all the time. So it has lowered the average age of a family. So there's a lot of kids in Auburn. Now, the national average I found is about $15,800 a year, which is mind blowing when it comes to childcare, because that could wipe out an entire salary for some people. And then in Auburn, our average cost is $13,800. So about $2,000 less on average, which is great. You are saving on childcare, but understand childcare is competitive in Auburn. Yes, there's a lot of providers, but you need to jump on that quick, just as quickly as you're jumping into wanting to buy a house. Now, and I say all this because yes, I'm a real estate agent, but I also want to be your resource. So I've been there, I've been through it. Reach out to me. We can talk about it and help you find the best resource for you. Now, lastly, why is Auburn worth it? Why is Auburn worth it? If you're coming from Denver, say you're a young family and you're like, why is it worth it? Or you're coming from Birmingham, why is it worth it? We hear that all the time. You're going to be seeing a cost of living savings anywhere from 8% to 14%. So think about that. That could absolutely affect what size house you buy. It's going to affect your personal lifestyle, what your budget is, what kind of vacations you can save money and spend on vacations for your family. So it can absolutely improve your lifestyle and how maybe you raise your family or you want to travel yourself. So I see Auburn as a big pro when it comes to investing because we're going to be cheaper than Atlanta, cheaper than Birmingham. You know, we're less than 2 hours from them. We're less than 3.5 hours from the beach, less than 3 hours from the mountains. So we're a good middle location and great education spot as well. So fantastic, lovely city. I can go on and on about selling Auburn. Now, the growth is pretty unstoppable in Auburn. Being a small mid-market, I've seen us grow tens of thousands of people over the past decade, a little over a decade since I've been here. And so they have us actually ranked as the 19th fastest growing metro area in the United States, which is incredible. I mean, it's a pretty neat honor. They have us projected at 3 to 5% appreciation this year, which is great as well. So if you're looking for a home and you're looking for a safer investment, especially if you're looking at if you're coming from California, Texas, or Florida, that are absolutely getting their real estate world annihilated right now because their prices were so overinflated and people are fleeing those areas. Auburn is a pretty good safe haven to come to and invest in. So we can talk a little bit more about that and comparing those cost of livings if you want to hop on a conversation and talk about your current area, what those costs are versus here. And we can kind of lay those out side by side and go through it. And like I said, you're buying a home in the 350, 360 range on average. So you're going to be saving against where you're living. So a lot of times we find that people are selling their homes, whether it's in Virginia, California, they're selling and they're turning their equity, that ghost equity that everyone talks about. You're turning that ghost equity and you're using it. You're utilizing it towards buying something that is a better fit for you and is going to improve your lifestyle. So it's a big savings. And renting around $1,000 for a 2-bedroom, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the national average. I mean, I've seen rents just incredibly high. So Auburn's pretty good and fair on rents, unless you're a college parent maybe and you're trying to find a place right next to campus. Those rents can be a little bit painful when it comes to paying per bed. So like I said, we're 8 to 14% below the national average. We're a fast growing metro area. And here's the thing. Here's my final pitch for you to come to Auburn and call me. Southern charm, loveliest village on the plains, university town with everything to do. There's something going on every season here. There's always something good. And you know what's awesome? You know what the best part about it is? Auburn's really good at just about everything when it comes to the university and sports, athletics, if you're into that kind of stuff, even equestrian. I mean, it's amazing how good Auburn is, especially if you just watch the Kentucky Derby. Come down here and check out Auburn because they do have the #1 equestrian team in the country, which is fantastic. And so you mix all those things, you mix Toomer's Corner, the walkability downtown, all the amenities that come with living in this area. I think you're absolutely going to love it. So that's my sales pitch to you on why you should move to Auburn, Alabama, and why the cost of living really works in 2025. So thank you so much for joining me on this video. Like I said before, if you're looking to make the move, reach out to me and my team. We would love to be the boots on the ground. You can also actually scan this QR code here. And if you scan that, it's actually going to give you a home value. So if you have a home that you have to sell, reach out to us. We can help you find a great agent in your area or be your agent to sell your home. We'd love to help you either way. We'd love to be a resource. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me on this video, and we'll see you guys next week.